Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Uday of Engineer and welcome back to MANUU Connect. So this is the first ever bootcamp that we are starting. So we'll make series of videos where I'll be teaching you web development right from scratch. If you're someone who don't have any idea of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right, libraries like React, frameworks like Next.js, don't worry about that. I'll teach you from the beginner level, basics level, right? The thing you need to know is the curiosity. You have to be curious to learn things, and time. Obviously, for these things, we want a lot of time, a lot of patience, right? Consistency, right? Consistently, uh, write your codes, build projects, right? Try to learn things. These things are important. Nothing much, right? So today, so this is the first ever video. This is kind of introductory video, like introduction to web dev, right? Where I'll be talking about the important things, right? Whatever needed, right? So in the web dev, right? In any website, we need mainly three things, right? The first thing is HTML, right? And the second is CSS, and the third is JavaScript. Okay, so we have three things required. Right? I'll be covering all things in detail. Don't worry about those things. So first thing is HTML, which is this. If we talk about the full form is hypertext markup language, right? It is a language to build skeletons, right? Whatever we see in the website web pages, right, the structured are used to build HTML that way, right? And next comes the CSS part, right? In a website, we see different kind of gradient colors, padding, margin, beautiful buttons, every coloring, right? Things, styling things related to styling, anything which relates to styling part comes under CSS, right? Which is if we talk about the full form, which is called cascading style sheet, right? And next comes the JavaScript part. So JavaScript is a programming language, right? High level language. We used to give the a website like ability to work, right? Let's suppose whenever a user clicks a button, there will be something happen, right? The interaction happen between the buttons and some. Let's suppose we click on API, sorry, the button for login. Some API calls happen in the backend, right? Once we click to the add to cart button, something happen in the e-commerce applications. Your item is added to the cart. You like some post, anything. If you talk about social media or any other e-commerce application, right? So this is a high level thing. Don't worry, I'll go deeper. Don't worry about that. Just I'm talking about these three things only. So in this particular video, I'll be covering these three things. That's it. Okay. If you want to take a screenshot, just you can take, right? First thing is HTML. Second thing is CSS, and then third is JavaScript that we are going to cover. Now we are moving to the first ever part, which is the HTML part, right? Awesome. If you are with me, you are one step ahead for. Now, why do we need HTML? Right? There might be questions. Why HTML? Why not directly CSS and JavaScript? Right? So let's go one step back and try to understand with real world examples. Right? Is this literally using or not? Right? So let's take an example of your favorite applications or website. So let's take an example of an e-commerce application and see how an e-commerce application uses HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Right? I think you will relate this very much. So let me create an e-commerce application first, right? So let's take an example. Let's suppose this is the page here. So what are the parts of an e-commerce application? If you see, let's suppose this is the part, and here we say logo, right? Here comes what? A logo. Obviously, here comes a logo. Awesome. And here comes different links, right? Different links. We'll add links as well. Let's suppose here link one, right? Here some other links, okay, and here a button. Let's suppose login button. Suppose awesome. This is an e-commerce applications, and make it a Flipkart e-commerce. Suppose I let me import the logo here. Okay, so one more thing. Awesome. Perfect. So this is a Flipkart. This looks like Flipkart, but we are not adding a lot of things here. Let me add the rest of the things. So in the Flipkart, here we have search bar, right? We can search items here. Let's suppose search your items, whatever you want to buy. You can search here. Inside that we have a button. Okay. Let's suppose let me search here. Search button. This is a button, right? And let me close this part as well. Let me wait a second. Awesome. So this is the search bar, right? I might be slow, don't worry. I'll try to give you the real life example here, right? And this is a footer. Any website we see as a footer, right? Here we have a lot of links, right? Different kind of links, short links, login pages, admin pages, link, right? Shortcuts are here. Detail of the website, right? Flipkart, when born, purpose, type of application, some sort of terms and conditions, a lot of things, right? In the footer section, because general people don't visit that particular section, right? And this section is the main section where the actual data or actual products listed shows. So make that as well, right? Try to make that part also. So let's suppose this is the component, and inside that we have different types of data. Let's suppose these are the products listed data, different data. Let's suppose I have searched something, and the let's suppose I search the my best t-shirt or phone, whatever I have searched, these are they listed over here. Right? There's a lot of things, a lot more things in the application, but I'm talking about high level over here. Let's suppose these are the some products list we have in every product list. We have a like add to cart button or this kind of things, right? And let's suppose this side we have another part for offers. Let's talk about, right? Sometimes we see offer section as well. Inside that we have again some listed for offers based on their recommendations we see. So this is the front page, but we can see there's a lot of things, right? A lot of things listed. So how a company uses HTML? So you can see any colors. Let's suppose in this box, I want to make the background color different, right? Let's suppose we have this box, and I want that the background is a different color. Suppose this color. Okay. Let me. So here CSS comes into picture, but when we select that particular box, that is an skeleton, right? This is the structure that is called HTML, right? If we talk about this here, so this is the outer level, right? So this is the main structure, and inside that we have different structures. So let me mark all those. So let's see. This is the main, right? This is the so parent, and inside that we have son, like number one, this one, number two, number three, and number four. Let me mark each and everything. We'll relate. Let's suppose I'm talking about this. So this is first. Let's suppose this box second. Let's suppose this box third. Let's suppose this box fourth, and this footer is fifth. So I have this a top parent div or a container, I would say, and inside that we have different sub containers or child containers. So top is one is the parent one, and then what, 2, 3, 4, 5 are what the child, the children, right? If we go to 2, what we see, two childs. The first child is the logo part, and the second child is for this, right? Nav links. These are called nav links. We use navs, right? We'll talk about these things, which is an tag, HTML tag. Don't worry, I will teach you each and everything, right? I'm just to give you a real life example of how these things are used. So I'm taking a Flipkart example, right? Don't worry. Okay, so if you go deeper, this part has two things. We have search bar and search button. Inside that we have one left side container, and inside right side one container. Inside that we have 4 elements. Inside this lot of elements. And in a footer has nothing, but we have single what elements or tags or components, whatever it is. So in a high level, whatever we are writing, we have to write inside one container, which is the top container, right? So this is where HTML comes in. So now let's talk about the actual structure. So this is the representation. This is how the visualization. But once we talk about coding part, right? Actually coding is a different, right? Coding is a different part, like the way of coding is a different. Okay, so let's suppose I'm writing the hello Manu connect, right, in a h1 text, right? Let's see how we write that. Whenever we are writing html, we have to define the html first, right? html. Now a question maybe arises, what are these things? These are opening brackets, I would say opening, right? So whenever we are writing, the HTML is a tag. HTML itself a tag, which is the topmost tag, right? HTML is the topmost tag. So this is an HTML, and inside HTML, and one more thing. Once we want to close, we use these things, HTML. So we have to use this part whenever we are closing here, right? So let's suppose this is an HTML tag, and we are closing here, right? So we are doing like that, HTML. So this is an opening, this is closing. Okay, simple, as simple, no fancy, nothing fancy. Now in HTML itself is a root one, the topmost element. Inside that we have two elements. The first element is called the head element. Head, right? We have head. This is head element. Okay. Let me write the head here. So this is head. So again head will be like closed like this way. Also this is opening, this is closing. And we have this is the first. This is first. We have second thing called the body. Body. Simple. Okay, you got it? What I'm talking about? So now go deeper and try to visualize things. So whenever we are writing our HTML code, we always make sure the topmost element is HTML, and inside we have two tags, head and body. In the head we have different use case. We don't generally use head here. Head will be there, but we will don't write our logic or our skeleton here. We'll always write the skeleton part or whatever will be view in the web page. We'll write inside the body tag. What do you mean? So let's suppose I want to show something in the UI. So this is the like the formula I would say, right? So let's take a real life example. So what I'll do, I'll start with HTML first. Let's see, HTML, perfect, and we'll use head here, okay, and we'll close the head here. We're not writing anything inside here. We can write, but I'm not writing here. Now we'll write tail, sorry, body here, and inside body I'm writing h1. H1 is a tag. Hello. And I'm closing this tag like this. I'm closing the body itself, and I'm closing the HTML itself. Awesome. You see. Let's see. Let me go and teach you or tell you how this thing. So this is the topmost, right? And then inside that we have head. Inside that we have body. Inside that we have h1. So this part will be executed, and the web page will say hello Manu. If you want, I can show you in the web page as well. Right? I'll show you. Don't worry. Awesome. So this is how we use HTML. If you talk about the importance of head, why we need head. So head basically tags are used to use metadata. Whenever we want to show or set some metadata or data about our pages, let's suppose as my share screen, you see this is written Node.js, download Node.js. So this is when you want to insert something like this, you have to put the data in the head tag, under the head tag, right? This is called under title option. Don't worry, I'll cover those things as well. So based on the requirement, I'll use the things. Whenever you want to link the external CSS file, we use head here, right? We use head. I would not say that we don't use head, but based on the requirement matters, right? We'll use, don't worry. Alright, now moving ahead to the next thing. So I have covered this Flipkart example in a better way, and I will cover everything. Whenever we need it, I'll go back to this part, and I'll teach you from here only, like how these things. So I've covered the HTML part, where HTML is, and if you want to see actual like data of Flipkart or actual HTML and everything, you can go like, let's suppose I say Flipkart, that is fine, and I'm here. So this is a kind of same what I have covered in my here. So I'm not going to log in. So just right click, inspect, right? Once you inspect, just click on responsive, go up. All right. So in the elements, click this part element, and you see here. So HTML is what here. I can choose. All right. So as you can see, the HTML. Once you click on HTML part, this is the top level element. Inside that, what we have two things: head and body. Inside body, we have everything that we have needed, right? Inside body, but inside head, once we open head here, we have minimal thing, the relations or links, right? Simple thing, the meta, what I talked about. Okay, this is what, if you want to see, you can see on, just go to your browser, search any website you have, because any website has anytime what HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Simple, nothing fancy. Okay, now let's move ahead to the next thing called CSS. CSS in general is for used styling, as I have covered. Okay, so let me write for CSS as well. Let me click on that, and let me write for second thing, CSS. Perfect. CSS is what? CSS means cascading styling sheet. Let's suppose you have a website, the same website I have, and I want to make color any specific. Let's suppose I want to let's fill a color in a specific. Let's suppose I want to fill the entire website background gray, right? So where CSS comes into picture. What I'll do, I'll click this. I'm visualizing here, but the way of writing code is different, right? So I'm filling. Let's suppose, let me fill here. Okay, so fill the color. Fill the color this. So this is not visible. So this is how I can fill the color, but I'm making it better gray. So yeah, simple, not a fancy thing. So CSS is for styling purpose, right? Whenever we want to style, so under the CSS comes a lot of things. Let's suppose whenever we want to background color, let's talk about the background color, right? Used to be background color, right? Or used to give a color. Let's suppose we have a text and I want to make color change, so we use color text or color syntax to color these things. I'll show you, don't worry about those things, right? Let's suppose margin, right? We have mostly used margin padding, right? For use, let's suppose how much space I want from the right, or how much free space I want from itself, or the like inside of the container or the box. Let's take an example. Let's suppose this is an example here, and this is here. Let's suppose I want to make that, hey, the difference between these two boxes should be 10 pixels. So how I can achieve these things? I use CSS over here, right? CSS to make these things happen. So this is where CSS is used. Let's suppose what I want, I have a box, right? This is a box I have, and I want a box which has the border, like, should not be sharp on, right? Border should be a kind of uh, round borders. Let's suppose this way. So what we can use CSS to make these things possible, right? So this is how possible. This is CSS. This is called border radius, right? So here CSS comes. Here CSS are used frequently. Okay, perfect. So we have a lot of things. CSS is very important because using CSS we make the complete website responsive. Responsive in the sense that, let's suppose the same website will show different on tabs. show different on web, like the bigger screen show completely different on mobile devices, right? Because in mobile devices the pixels are limited, right? 320, 420, 475. These are the limitations of the phones, right? So what we want to give some other UI here. So how we those make those things happen using CSS. Okay, perfect. Nothing fancy, sounds good, right? Awesome. And moving ahead, the JavaScript part. I would like to ask you some things. If you like this video, please comment. And if you think you want to contribute to the community, you want to teach us in the same platform, we are always welcome. Right? Comment below. And if you think this should be improved, the way I'm teaching is improved, needs improved, anything like I'm always looking for your suggestions. Okay. Feel free to comment. There's nothing. Okay. Now moving to the JavaScript part. Okay, so the first thing is, let me go back. The first thing is HTML, where I have taught about the structured thing, why HTML needed. HTML is the skeleton things. It gives the structure, right? Where will be the, let's suppose take an examples, where will be the washroom, where will be the kitchen, your drawing room, master bedroom, everything, the planning things, right? The CSS is for, okay, the color of the wall, right? The radius, which color, what happens, this like styling part, simple. Now let's come to the JavaScript part. Why do we need JavaScript? As JavaScript is used, for the user interactions. Whenever a website needs of user interactions, we need JavaScript. Let's suppose a user wants to like a post. Let's suppose you are on Instagram and you have posted something, your friend wants to like that post. Without JavaScript, that is not possible because your user or your friend will click like. So using JavaScript, that is possible, right? So in high level, I would say JavaScript is used to user interactions. Simple. You want to fill a form, you click on submit. The form will be submitted to the backend database. Simple. Okay. I'm not going to deep dive here because a lot of students have don't any idea of JavaScript because, and in the upcoming videos I'll try to teach you the basics of variables, functions, how to write in loops, right? Because uh, in the upcoming like videos that is very important. So I'll mainly focus on HTML and CSS, right? I will at least in this video at least try to give you whatever I have teach you like a real life example, because whatever I have taught till now is a complete theory. I don't even wrote any code in the IDE, right, which is integrated development environment. Either it's VS Code or online compiler, whatever you want to be used, that is completely up to you. So don't worry. I'll at the end of the video I'll like show you that things also, and then I'll end up the video, right? Now let's talk about a bit of JavaScript. So in this video, let's think of JavaScript as C language. So if you are someone who are watching this video, you have a basic understanding of C language, you're welcome. You're almost done. Don't worry. Because in C and JavaScript, the syntax is almost same, I would say, right? So syntax, functions, whatever we use is completely same apart from the DOM manipulation part, right? So in JavaScript, we use to DOM manipulation because DOM tree, the HTML tree is created a DOM tree, right? Document object model, and we use JavaScript to manipulate that tree, right? We got one. Let's suppose we want to inject something, we want to delete something, anything, right? So JavaScript is that way uses. So I'll teach you that part as well. Don't worry. How we use query selectors, how we use select a particular element, how we use classes and IDs to select a particular element. Simple thing. Don't worry. Okay. Okay, so if you don't have any idea of JavaScript, you can start your own as well. We have very, very good resources. I would suggest if you're a beginner, just try to follow this channel, Double Base Course, even though I've started my journey from here as well, right? So you can go complete, right, the basics, conditionals, loops, right? Basics. Just firstly, just try to basic JavaScript. Then go advanced, like, functions, like advanced functions, okay? And classes, asynchronous. Don't go dominant navigations and all, arrays and all. Just try to first understand the basics, right? Loops, sorry, the basic things, conditions, simple things, if a statements, and numbers, functions, objects, right? Simple, simple. Okay, just Google WP School, JavaScript, WP School, HTML, CSS, make your notes. That is the best way of learning. Okay, so now let's talk about real life, example code. Now let's time to code here. Whatever I have learned so far, let me teach you, right? Okay, so for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start my VS Code, right? So in the VS Code, I'm going to start a directory called Web Dev Basics. I think I have already uh, created that directory. So let me create. Okay. Let me start a new window here. All right. For those who don't know which ID is this, so this is the VS Code, Visual Studio Code by Microsoft. So if you don't know how to use, I would suggest get try to make your hands dirty using VS Code because a lot of companies and everyone uses VS Code these days, right? So try to get started with VS Code, right? Okay, DIR. What I have to do is, alright, web if close this basics cd. Okay, and if you have any suggestions regarding anything, any topics, any new things, DSA, anything, just feel free to suggest us. Because if you suggest us anything, we'll try to arrange mentors. We'll try to arrange a lot of people to teach you all because we want to help you guys, right? The entire team is want to help you to start your own journey, right? Start to uh, own journey in tech, right? Build your own projects, everything. All right. So what I've done so far is I've created a project or a directory called Web Dev Basics. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create our first ever HTML file. So index.html. So HTML is a what? The file name, right? We need to whenever we are working with any language, right? So we have to like give the name of that particular language, right? Okay. So .html file. So because we are working with HTML, this is called HTML. Right? The file name should be anything. Let's suppose I want to give the MANUU.html. Makes sense, right? Doesn't matter. But mostly we start with index.html. It is everyone does, right? That's how we start. So whatever I have learned so far, what I have taught you before that, in the topmost we have what? See HTML tag itself. Okay. And then we have what? Head. And then we have head. And then we have what? Body. Awesome. Nothing fancy. We have three things, right? If you see my screen, let me share my screen. We have three things here, right? We have what? We have HTML, we have head and body. Same thing here, right? Perfect. Okay, so in the head, I had not even written inside the body. I have written what? H1. Sorry, H1. H1. Simple. Let me format this. Okay. One more thing. To run this page, to run the HTML file, we can directly load or we can load an extension, right? Go to left side, right? This section, extensions, click on live server, right? An extension used to run your HTML file. Simple, right? So this is already installed. If I want, I can install. You can install. Once you install, you will see this go live, or you can write command and you can say open with live server. Simple, not a fancy thing. Okay. Hey, welcome. So you have write your first ever HTML code, which is hello man connect. Not fancy thing here. Simple. You can zoom in, zoom out, whatever you want, right? Perfect. Any doubts? So this is the basics things, right? Simple. All right. Now the CSS part, right? CSS is what we have background colors and all. Let's talk about the CSS once again, and let me practice the CSS one over here. So CSS in the CSS here, what I have learned is we can write background color, margin, padding, a lot of things, multiple things. We can even like make it border radius, borders, corners as well, sharp corners as well. Right? So let's try to do right before moving ahead, before writing the code. Let's talk about ways to writing. Right, one thing which is important, I would say, ways to write CSS. Right, it might be a work could be done in a multiple ways. So in the same way, we can write CSS in a multiple way. So there are three ways. The first is called inline CSS. Second is called internal CSS, right? Internal CSS, and third called external CSS, right? What is inline CSS? Inline CSS, writing your CSS in the same line. What do you mean? Let's talk about code first. So the syntax is style equals to, and whatever. Let's suppose I want to change the color. Go to, let's suppose as green. Simple, nothing fancy here. A simple syntax. What I've done, I have write the CSS in the same line of where I have wrote my content. Simple. So if you go and refresh, that is okay. This is the beauty of live server. So live server is whenever there is a change in your file, server automatically reloads and build and make it live for you. So you don't need to every time you make change in your code, you need to reload the entire page. This is the beauty of live server. So the color is changed, right? So this is the first way. Okay. The second way is what? What was the second way? So I have covered the first way. Now let's talk about the second way. Second way is internal CSS. Again, so for the internal CSS, inside head, write like this, style, simple. And let's suppose let me remove this part here first, right? And write, okay, h1 is color is simple. You don't need to do anything stuff. If you don't want to mess your code, the logical code or the visual code, you can write this way. Simple. Go to the CSS file and let me refresh. You can see. If you want, I can change to red as well. Nothing fancy things here. Simple. The change has been made. Okay. So this is called the internal CSS. Awesome. The last is called external CSS. Let's suppose you are working on a project which is quite bigger. So you can write your CSS in an external way. Let me create. Extension should be what? .css. Sorry, .css. And the file should be anything. ABC equal anything. But what I want it is a style. No? Then what I'll do, I'll write style of CSS. And again, what I'll do, I'll okay h1 as a color is what. Let me make pink. Awesome. And let me remove this part. But the thing is, as you can see, the code has no changes made. Right? The UI is still black. It means the CSS is not applying. Let's see, there's a two files, CSS file and an HTML file. So whenever we are working two files, we have to establish the connection, right? We have to tell this file that, hey, whenever you need some sort of CSS file or CSS, you have to create the data from this particular file. And what I've talked to you earlier, in a head, generally we don't touch head. But whenever we need some sort of need, we use. So CSS doesn't changes the content of the UI, right? But CSS changes the styling part, right? So what we'll do, I'll use link it. Simple. What I'll do, I'll link. That's it. What link is? Type it what? Styles it. STYLE. It's a style sheet, and I will link it or ref. Ref equals to style dot. Let me reload. Oh, it is still not working. Why? So how these things work? Link is not working properly. Okay, so let me check again. Link. Perfect. So ref. Okay. Styles it as ref is. Okay. STY. Okay. Perfect. So you guys got it. Let me change again the color. Color is blue. Background color is pink. Simple. As you can see, the change has been. So what I've covered so far, I have covered the inline, internal, and external CSS. I have covered HTML. I have covered CSS, the way of writing CSS. Simple. Because these things matter most, right? As your project grows, you need these kind of solutions, right? So that's why you can before, right? So yeah, that is comes the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching out. Say, I have touched the JavaScript high level. I have to teach you why we need it. I have covered, but in the next video, I'll start with the HTML again. I'll teach you the tags. I'll start building the free-fledged video. Right. I'll try to give the complete understanding how to use different tags, how to build your own tags, own element. Simple. After 3-4 videos, I'll try to make switch to a React. I'll start teaching you React. Whatever I can teach you, I'll try to teach you. Don't worry about those things. For that time, just go through the HTML part, CSS part completely. Use a resource like Web3 Schools, which is very good resources outside. Install Node.js. One more thing, if you want to learn JavaScript, priority is Node.js because Node is a runtime environment for JavaScript. So install Node on your system, right? So this is the website as well. I'll put everything in the description. Don't worry about those things. Okay. So yeah, that's it. We come at end of this video. I've covered everything I have think of today to cover. And thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. And make sure to subscribe to OneConnect because the entire team is working hard. We are on a vacation, but we are still working. We are still trying to get few things that they try to. Not the entire team is very working hard to give you things, right? To teach you, to provide you the resources. And one more thing is, if you need any kind of help, right? If you think you are stuck in a project, if you think you are stuck, you don't even understand what is going on. So you don't worry. Just let us know. Comment on our website, or you can visit our WhatsApp channel. Comment anyone, like talk to anyone from our teammates. Don't worry. Right? We are very talented guys in our group. Don't worry about those things as well. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, for watching this video, and bye bye. Take care. Thank you.